Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here this morning. It's Cape Breton Originals with our Serious Sunday series. What is this, Ron? Is this our fourth episode?
Yeah, it's our third time on here, and I think our listenership is going up every time we're on, so that's really positive.
Exactly, it has, and I got to agree with you. Morning, Snowy. So
Really?
right off the bat, we'll give a little. If you want to give a little prequel of what we've done in the last three shows, just to catch anybody up who's tuning in today for the first time.
Sure. Basically, what we've been doing is tracing the waterfront, the CBRM waterfront controversy that's been going on for the last how many years there, Jan? How long has this been going on?
Well, from what our records are showing, this has been going on, Rod, from at least 2009, 2010. Seems like there's been quite a lead up to this moment.
Yeah, so we're talking basically about the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club, the Benyon Yacht Club, and the development that's been going on in the CBRM harbor. Okay, and I want to make that clear. It's not just Sydney, but it also touches on North Sydney, Point Edward, etc. All these deals and machinations are all intertwined, right?
Morning, Shane, Marie, Snowy. Good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in. So
Wow.
we've got all kinds of viewers on right now. We've got a dozen strong here, team. So that's the prequel.
Good morning, everyone.
Marie
Sorry,
is
I was a little late there.
Your Bluetooth sounds good too, Marie. So Marie is our designated reader. We are going to be bringing up our most valued resources, which is our Cape Breton Spectator newspaper. And Mary Campbell is our absolute favorite writer, journalist. And, well, we're going to dive right in and see what she has to say with our Back to the Ashes. Anytime you're ready, Marie, go ahead and hit it.
All right. Back to the Ashes of the RCBYC. A spectator, you know who you are, recently referenced my June 2019 article about the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club, RCBYC. The 113-year-old building that graced the Sydney waterfront until May 3rd, 2013, when it was destroyed by a fire. This reminded me that I had never properly followed up on that initial story, which was based on a little cache of documents released by the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, ACOA. In it, I focused on the behind-the-scenes action that led to the sale of the club to Enterprise Cape Breton, ECBC. The development agency had refused to fund repairs to the iconic RCBYC on the grounds that the estimated and very likely inflated costs, in excess of $2.5 million, were too high, even as it was quietly negotiating a $4 million non-repayable contribution to a brand new marina in Benyon.
They gave them money. They gave them it
was actually $4 million non-repayable contribution, right?
So they weren't able to give them a $2 million or a $2.5 loan. They weren't able to give them a loan that was going to be paid back, but they could give a certain group $4 million that didn't have to be paid back. That makes sense, right?
No.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It makes sense to no one, said the banker. Denied, said the banker, but it was
okay. Not in Cape Breton.
All right. Not in Cape Breton for sure. So ECBC paid $280,000 for the RCBYC with the intention of demolishing it, an intention that sparked opposition from local quarters. But before the case for preserving the building could be made, the club burned to the ground. And before Canada's before Canada's Auditor General, Michael Ferguson, could begin a planned investigation into ECBC's Benyon investment and proposed RCBYC demolition, ECBC head John Lynn was fired, and the agency folded into ACOA.
Interesting.
How do you like that?
Yeah. We don't. What changed?
All right.
Wait, so ECBC changed into ACOA, but if I looked at the directors of ECBC and then looked at the directors of ACOA, what changed?
There is no change.
Well,
the name. Yeah.
But no, we were told by the CBRM people that this was that the fraud that took place with ECBC and all the bad that was with John Lynn when they fired was gone away. But if John Lynn worked with these same people that were on the board at ECBC and everybody except John Lynn went over to ACOA, How did anything change? I'm confused. Am I really stupid, guys? I feel
No.
I
stupid.
don't think you are, Janet. I really don't believe you are.
Well, basically, there was no change. Is that ECBC was always kind of ECBC Enterprise Cape Breton Corporation was always a hand's length away from ACOA anyway. So they were part and parcel of the same thing. So basically, like ECBC got their money from ACOA, and when the ECBC, the name turned out to be linked to fraud, etc. They simply folded it back into ACOA.
Guys, what we need to do is make director trees. Now, I don't know if you've ever known what a directory tree is, but I want to take a directory tree and turn it into a director tree. We're going to try to get through this week. You know, I got a lot of moving and whatnot going on and packing, but I'd like to have a director tree of ECBC to show people in a nice chart, a director tree of ACOA. We'll even include a director tree if we can find it on DevCo to start the whole seedling, if you will. And then we'll do a director's tree on the lakes and all of their little subsidiaries that they've got going on out there. And then we'll finally finish the directory tree with the CBRM. And when we finish with all this tree planting and seed growing, guys, I think it's going to mind blow all of y'all, because we've already seen basically these, but we haven't put them in tree form yet. And once they start to blossom, well, keep going, Marie.
Yeah.
So Mary says, I said in that original article that I would seek out police and fire reports related to the fire. After noting that the Cape Breton Regional Police Services, CBRPS, in the 4th of May 2013 press release stated, the Forensic Ident Unit and arson investigator were called to assist the Fire Marshal's office with an investigation into the cause of the fire. But the Fire Marshal's office told me they were never asked to investigate the yacht club fire and that I should direct my inquiries to the CBRPS. Cape Breton Regional Police Department, right?
How normal is that? So if there's a fire going on and there's a question to be asked about the fire, why would we contact the police if the fire people are the experts? I mean, if a cop takes a guy to the hospital, do we ask the cop or do we ask the doctor? If the fire marshal's conducting, at the fire, why are we asking the police officer who would have called the fire marshal to go there to do the investigation? Because police officers aren't fire investigators.
The fire marshal actually has to be asked to investigate the fire.
Okay, that makes sense then.
The police didn't ask for that, or the CBRN didn't. I mean, somebody didn't do their job purposely.
The police service didn't ask for the fire marshal to get involved, I believe. I think.
We will see. It will tell us in this. So, what was this here? Where she wanted to direct her inquiries to the CBRPS, right?
Yeah.
So she did. To their credit, they responded promptly. I'm the one who dropped the ball, filing the information away, intending to return to it immediately, then forgetting about it, until today, that is. So here's the fire marshal. I received a copy of fire report form dated 30th of July 2013 and signed by Deputy Fire Marshal Doug McKenzie, who has since been named OFM Director, Ontario Fire Marshal Director. Information had been redacted and the explanatory code given was 21, which refers to the Federal Access to Information and Privacy Act, ATIP. I'm not entirely sure why the federal law would apply to this information, which seems to have come from the Provincial Department of Labor and Advanced Education, where the Office of the Fire Marshal was held until 2014, when it was moved to the Municipal Affairs. My best guess is that the province retrieved the record from the Canadian Fire Statistics Database, but I can't say for sure. I've asked the Office of the Fire Marshal for clarification, but as of press time, had not received a response. Bottom line, however, is that the information redacted was the information I was most interested in seeing. So you can see there, property classification, 124 sport, country, social, yacht club, fire origin 9, blocked out. Igniting object 77, blocked out. Material first ignited 98, blocked out. Fuel energy 98, blocked out. Possible cause 01, blocked out. Smoke alarm present, yes. That's all they gave her, right? Until she had now she has to file. So the scraps of code visible gave a hint to the content, but to understand them, I need access to the National Fire Code of Canada, used here in Nova Scotia. I've applied for this through the National Research Council's virtual store, but it's going to take a few days to process my request. So she probably has that as of now. We'll have to find out about that.
Yeah,
luckily, the report. Yeah, we will. Luckily, the report also includes some notes from Mackenzie, who explains he was not called to the fire, but went over of his own volition. So here we go. Here's Mackenzie's account. I was leaving my office on Prince Street for a meeting at the Civic Centre when a Sydney fire truck went by. I could tell they had a serious call by the high usage of the air horn. I proceeded to drive to the Esplanade. Along the way, I could see the smoke in the sky. I went to the scene to take photos and make observations in the event that the OFM was requested to complete an investigation. Mackenzie certainly seemed to think his office would be called upon to complete an investigation.
Like
he
normal.
noted that it would be normal. He noted that when he arrived at the fire at 1:54 p.m., he took photos and identified himself to Deputy Fire Chief Jim Driscoll and Richard Bully, letting them know he was on scene if they required OFM assistance, although he was there to observe only at that point.
Okay.
As he was, are we ready? You have something to say, or shall I continue?
You keep going, Duke girl.
All right. As he was watching the fire suppression activities in quotation, right? He received a call from Deputy Fire Marshal Paul McCormick and advised him that he might need assistance should the OFM be requested for an investigation.
The fire was out.
So it's okay. McCormick joined Mackenzie at the scene soon after. But Mackenzie also realized any investigation would be difficult. So this is this is the quote here. Spoke with Jim Driscoll and Platoon Chief Charlie Long, who was in command of the scene, on the amount of damage to the structure and the fact the excavator had deposited debris and spread the building materials, making it extremely difficult for a physical examination of the area of suspected origin.
Stop.
Unreal.
Okay, so the excavator is already on the scene while the fire is going on and is spreading materials. So that
never happens.
That's right. That never happens.
It's what they're saying happened, Janet. As he was watching the fire suppression activities.
Yeah, so he's watching his own investigation being spoiled and foiled right before his eyes, and he's wondering, what in the God's name is going on here? This isn't hellfire.
He spoke with Jim Driscoll. Yeah.
Something stunk, and it wasn't the smoke at the fire. It was the shit that led to it.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
In his own summary of the case, CBRPS arson investigator Constable A.J. McIsaac said that a constable on the scene, Ryan Lawrence, had spoken to Long, who said the fire was deemed suspicious and would have to be investigated. But, you're in quotation, they do not have a starting point for the fire because the flames and smoke were too strong to control. The building was unable to be saved. Long advised a hi-ho was being brought in to tear down the remaining wall that's standing to help fight the fire. There was no hope in saving the building at all.
There was no attempt at saving the building at all.
Wait. No, exactly.
Let's stop it right here, right now. Yeah. Let's rewind.
Yeah?
In order to get now I know a few things about construction, right? I've done it for a while. In order to have an excavator on site, you'd have to line that up beforehand.
Yes, you would.
So
let's find out who was the excavator company.
Now, I want to tell you, remember, it was slated for demolition. Just
but
because you had the...
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They did. They had their ducks in a row, guys. I have to give them that.
Okay.
They did know, like they knew that, they knew, right? But at the same time.
Hold the phone there on that thought, Marie. If they did have a plan for excavation, but what day was the excavation? If the fire took place on Friday, was the excavation planned for Monday, or was it for like a month from, Friday? Because if that's
we'll have to look that up.
You don't call a taxi a month before you need it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
An excavator is an hour.
We'll have to look.
Yeah.
Okay, let's let her roll.
Sorry.
All right. No, don't be sorry. That's good. We need to talk about it. We need to question these things so that other people can question them as well. Because I want people to question us. If you've got anything out there you guys want to say, it would be great to hear your feedback. Yeah. Anybody who has anything to do with this, I would love to hear from you.
Please. Okay.
McIsaac, in a supplementary occurrence report filed on the day of the fire, said he had spoken with Paul McCormick and Doug McKenzie regarding the fire, and Deputy Marshal McKenzie advised that he is unable to process scene due to demolishing of building. McKenzie, in his own notes, put in somewhat differently. A request for the office of the fire marshal to conduct or take control of the scene was never received.
Never.
OFM deputies provided information on the processes and assisted with some analysis, but were not requested to do an investigation. So there you go. They were not ever asked in because they really didn't care, let's face it. So here's the fire. All the times in the reports I received are approximate, but at about 1:20 p.m., according to what he later told police, the manager of the Charlotte Street Scotia Bank, whose office overlooked the yacht club, saw smoke and flames, although he reported seeing no one suspicious in the area. At about 1:40, Constable Ryan Lawrence and Constable Curtis McDonald, who had been in the parking lot behind Centre 200, responding to a complaint, saw visible black smoke in the sky. Lawrence said they had arrived at Centre 200 at about 1:30, and he had driven up Prince Street to get there, at which point no smoke was visible. Police weren't actually dispatched to the fire. They followed the smoke, reaching the RCBYC at about 1:45, just as Sydney Fire was arriving on the scene. By that time, according to Lawrence, the building had been engulfed in flames. The back of the building facing the harbor was filled with smoke and fire. So, sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry, guys.
It's okay. Take your time.
You guys got anything to say about that? Not a whole lot, eh?
No.
Well, what always bothered me about it is that, like the fire was this dark pitch black fire. And if anybody knows about fires, let's say if you burn tires, what's the color of the smoke? Black, right? And the reason that the tires are black is because it's a petroleum-based rubber product, right? So the the yacht club was made up of what? Wood. So
why was the smoke black?
Why was the smoke black? Because there was a huge amount of accelerant inside of the building.
Yeah, we're going to hear a little bit about that as well.
There could have been tires laid in there with some gas nicely, left so that it could just go poof. But with the debris,
we will never know. We'll never know that, though.
And with it being cleaned up so quickly, you would never find the wires from the tires, right? Which would be
easily never find anything.
Right. Okay.
So Lawrence listed himself, McDonald, Sergeant Scott Reeves, and Constable Trevor Whitewood as the officers who had responded. At a request from Platoon Fire Chief Long, police secured the perimeter with caution tape and moved pedestrians to the intersection of Dorchester and Esplanade. McDonald said he saw a suspicious male on a red bicycle wearing a gray hooded sweater. When he approached the man to ask him to move behind the barrier, the cyclist quickly sped off in the direction of Dorchester Street. Lawrence said several other departments arrived on the scene to assist. Public Works came to block the street sidewalks. Nova Scotia Power attended to disconnect the power to the building. EHS in case of injuries. Scotia Propane to shut down and help the fire department control the tanks in case the fire caused an explosion. ECBC owners of the building also.
Okay, freeze right there. So right off the bat, this goes back to that bulldozer question. If that was slated in the next few days to be bulldozed, I can promise you that Nova Scotia Power would not have needed to attend to disconnect the power, because you don't have power onto buildings that are slated for demo in days and hours that lead to it. Our answer is question's been answered. It was definitely put there before it was supposed to be. You don't park a machine of that caliber for weeks, even all week.
If the electricity is still on your thing. I got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Lawrence spoke with the ECBC reps on the scene, property managers Rod McKeegan and Wendy Somerton Stone, who said there was nothing valuable inside the club. And while the building still had, I'm sorry?
Nothing valuable in the club except the club itself was valuable. It was a store.
That was the value right there. Yeah, there was nothing inside a value inside the club, and while the building still had power, there was nothing, as far as they knew, that would cause a small explosion. More about that in the witness accounts. Good Lord. McKeegan said he would have been one of the last people in the building, having entered on Tuesday, April 30th, with some CBRM employees to disconnect boardwalk lights from the boathouse. McKeegan said the building was locked afterwards and had smoke alarms that would have went off at the time of the fire.
Freeze again. So again, if this was slated to be demolished in the days that they said to come, why would they be dismantling boardwalk lights? Those again would have been things that would have been done weeks ahead of, Nova Scotia Power disconnecting. This building was not ready to be dismantled by the CBRM. They knew what was going to take place, and they had all these things in place.
Let's go back there. It's not the CBRM at this point. It's ECBC, Janet.
Okay.
So, another thing about this is, if I could add my part in, is that we had, as a person that was actually protesting the demolition of the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club at the time, we had stopped it.
Yes.
The forces that were coming down on these people, and the press and the public relations, had actually basically put it on hold.
They were not counting on you, Rod. They were not counting on you and your group of 1,500 people who cared about that building.
People, like you can stop these acts from happening. But
my God, people get me mad when they say that protesting does nothing and that you're wasting your time. Shut up! I've seen it work.
Yeah. Okay. Keep doing your thing, man.
Yeah. So the witnesses. Police gathered witness reports in a number of ways. Some witnesses proactively approached officers at the scene. Some called the police. Some were contacted based on information they gave 911. Some seem to have been approached by police both by phone and in person, but rather than get too hung up on how information was obtained or which officer obtained it, I thought it would be more helpful just to summarize what the various witnesses had to say. So Doug McKenzie, the deputy fire marshal, for example, spoke with 2 volunteer firefighters who told him that had not noticed anything when they went into the Scotiabank branch on Charlotte Street. But when they came out about 4 minutes later, the entire rear of the yacht club was involved in heavy black smoke throughout the structure. McKenzie passed this information along to the police. A supervisor operator in the communications center told Constable Ryan Lawrence that there were numerous 911 calls reporting the fire. They quote, the ones they were able to get names and numbers for were placed on the incident sheet. The rest were either quick calls and hang-ups or transferred to another 911 communication center in Nova Scotia due to the massive call volume tying up the lines. So Lawrence attempted to contact 8 of the people who had called 911 and succeeded in reaching 5 of them. One witness had exited the Joan Harris Cruise Pavilion and seen smoke rising from the side of the yacht club closest to the Holiday Inn. He did not see anyone around the building or hear an explosion. He got into his vehicle and he ran down and knocked on the door of the club to be sure no one was inside. At this point, he saw the fire truck coming, so got into his vehicle and left. Another witness who worked at 122 Charlotte Street said she and a friend were having a cigarette behind that building when they saw smoke coming from the back of the yacht club, which I think means the harbor side of the building. She ran inside, to get her phone and began taking pictures, which she supplied to the police. I believe they are the photos in the slideshow below, although they weren't identified as such by the CBRPS. She said at first there was a bit of smoke, and then she heard a loud explosion, and the flames went right through the building. She did not see anyone around.
Explosion.
Okay. And so, third witness.
Was there propane tanks inside of the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club? Does anybody know? Was there propane?
No, the propane was located outside in a large
outside.
tank.
Yeah.
Outside. But
so what exploded?
Well, maybe they left a container of gas inside, which was the accelerant used for whatever they, put it on. Maybe the jug itself exploded, but who knows?
They said that they went and they disconnected those propane tanks outside, so that cannot be the cause of the explosion, right?
Exactly.
That's why they were there, was to disconnect them. So
gas can be
carried. Something.
Why wasn't the yacht club rebuilt? Didn't they have insurance? Well, that's an excellent question, Marie. Isn't that an excellent question? I like it. What do you think, Rod? Why do you think it wasn't rebuilt? Wasn't in the plan?
No. I can only speculate is that I'm just going to use the term they. I don't like using that. It's because they didn't want it to be rebuilt because there's other plans for the downtown port, downtown development. Exactly. This all leads back. It's going to lead to something. In the future.
We're building a climax, guys. If you can follow the story and keep keep your interest with us. We promise we are most certainly leading somewheres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
So,
We're following the money. All right, keep going.
So we have a third witness, a retired RCMP officer, said he had been walking south on the boardwalk before the fire started and saw a male on a bike standing between the boathouse and the yacht club. He thought the man was suspicious and was able to give police a detailed description of him. The witness continued walking, and as he passed the Holiday Inn, the man on the bike passed him, traveling south. The witness said the man stopped at the Holiday Inn, looked in the direction of the yacht club, and then continued on riding his bike. The witness continued walking as far as the Civic Center, and when he looked back, he saw people looking at something around the corner of the Holiday Inn. He started walking back and saw smoke. A fourth witness who worked at Flavor 19 restaurant on Pitt Street said he saw the building on fire, but did not hear or see anything around. Lawrence said, Lawrence doesn't say where the fifth witness was situated, just that she saw the fire. Just as the smoke was coming up from the building, she said it was coming from the corner closest to the Holiday Inn, but within a couple of minutes, the entire building was in flames. She did not hear or see anything or anybody around the yacht club. So CCTV. The CCTV gets me. If this were a television show, the case might well have turned on CCTV footage from the nearby security cameras, but this is real life, so it didn't work out quite so well. There were security cameras in the area, at Scotiabank, at Governor's Pub, whose owner had not seen anything or anyone around the yacht club, and at the Holiday Inn. But Scotiabank's manager told police the bank had no cameras outside the building pointed in that direction. According to the supplementary occurrence report filed by the arson investigator, Constable A.J. McIsaac, on August 6, 2013, video was seized from the governor's, but, quote, it was the wrong time frame and only showed the view of the step in front of the building with a far shot of the street. Nobody could be ID'd on the video, nor did any emergency vehicles arrive.
Huh.
How you like that?
Yeah.
And finally, a maintenance worker at what some of the police reports were still calling the Delta, the former name of the Holiday Inn, brought Constable Dennis McSween to the rooftop to see the camera and determine if any info could be gained from it, but it was highly elevated and pointed towards Westmount and would not have had a shot of the yacht club or the boardwalk. Apparently, the owners of the Holiday Inn live in fear of an invasion by sea. Unreal. Like, all of that, just, you got to talk about that. Come on.
Yeah. See the comment here from Deborah Poirier? She said they must have turned them off the day before.
I think so.
It makes sense that they did that, because how do all these cameras in the downtown core, none of them, not one. I mean, Governor's is right across the street from there, and if they've got camera footage, it seems to me that, like, I've got camera footage here, and I can zoom in and zoom out and see all sorts of things with mine, and mine's a rinky-dink $150 thing from Amazon. What are they running there? $1,000 setup, and you're telling me you're paying $1,000 for a security camera and you can't make out anybody? Well, it sounds like you got a high-end piece of help.
You're the Rush Limbaugh of our program. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so arson. The focus of the police investigation of the fire moved very quickly to the man they believed had started it. I wanted to say something about that, okay?
Yeah, do it.
That poor man driving a bicycle with a gray sweatshirt, he looked suspicious. What are you doing down on the Esplanade, you ne'er-do-weller, with your sweatshirt and your bicycle? Where is your Lincoln? Where is your town car? You should not be driving on a bicycle.
Your head's moving because why? You're downtown and you don't want to get ran over. But that's suspicious? I'm suspicious someone's going to run me the freak over. That's not suspicious. That's safety.
There is black smoke billowing. And they're like, and they saw him looking suspiciously towards them. Like, get the hell out of town. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Bike riders. They've never been on a bike in a long time.
And the thing about
it's crazy.
And also traces movements of this guy that's already been noted by the witnesses. First, he was going all the way down to the Delta, all the way down to Holiday Inn, and then he was back up in front of Governor's and watching the thing, and they told him they had to get away from it. So the guy's pedaling his rear end off all over the city.
Yeah. And that's suspicious. No, it's not.
And why are they making such notes of this one poor fella on the bike?
One man. Yeah.
He was the scapegoat.
It made me mad when I read it right away, because I thought of my son right away. I thought, like, my son rides a bicycle a lot. He's a grown man, right? But he loves riding his bicycle. And he's a big guy. And so when he's stopped by police, it is a very scary thing for all of us. Like, it's like, it's ridiculous. You can't drive a bicycle without being assumed that you're a criminal, is what I'm saying.
Okay, we're 30-minute mark here.
As noted above, Constable Curtis McDonald reported seeing a suspicious man on a bike while he was herding pedestrians at the fire scene. And at 3 o'clock on the day of the fire, while firefighters were still battling the blaze, which they didn't bring under control until roughly, what is this?
4:30.
4:30, thank you. The retired RCMP officer mentioned above, Brian Finney, contacted Sergeant Jody Wilson to tell a story of a man on a bicycle near the yacht club who was behaving suspiciously, making Finney think he might have been stealing the bike. Finney provided a description of the man, approximately 25 years old, stocky build, transcribed, you couldn't make this up, a stocky, as stocky in the police report. That's actually in quotation. Approximately 5 feet, 8 inches tall, lazy or crossed eye, clean shaven, clear complexion, wearing denim carpenter-style jeans, a baseball cap with a hood over it, and a coat that looked like a Canada Post coat, only without any patches.
A lazy eye. I mean, what were they, ready to give him a kiss? How'd you see his eyes that close? I mean, good grief.
I found it really, I was like really astounded by the descriptions and everything of this poor suspicious man. Anyway, Constable A.J. McIsaac fanned out this description to dispatch. He wrote in his own case file synopsis that he suspected that the male described could be Derek Harris. Derek Joseph Harris, whose name is spelled variously Derek D-E-R-R-I-C-K and Derek D-E-R-R-I-K and Derek D-E-R-E-K in the police report. An email was sent out to all patrols as well as to be on the lookout for a male matching the description.
And this guy had been
spelling of his name.
And this guy, if I could add at this point, is known to police beforehand, right? And it was an easy call.
It says right here that they recognized him to be.
He did, as a decommissioned. He had a diminished mental capacity, is what we had read in another article from last time. So they particularly zoned on him for a particular reason. So, okay.
Yeah. Around midnight on May 4th, 2013, Constable Donald W. Reginato observed a suspicious male riding a bike in the middle of Dorchester Street near the Esplanade and stopped to see if the rider was in distress or if he had any issues as he was riding the bike in the middle of a roadway. It's beyond the scope of this article to parse all of this, but I would like to know what police mean when they say someone looks suspicious. Does riding a bike down the middle of a deserted street at midnight make you suspicious?
No.
Reginato identified the man as Harris, and dispatch advised he was on a probation order with several conditions, none of which Harris was breaching. So he was free to carry on his way. But according to Reginato's own report, moments later, while on routine patrol, Reginato observed Harris standing on Governor's Pub property. Reginato asked dispatch to repeat the conditions again for Harris, and it was confirmed that Harris was to stay away from any establishment that sells alcohol as a primary product. Harris at this time was riding his bike away from the front steps of Governor's toward the parking lot. Reginato approached Harris and advised him to step off the bike. Harris followed the instructions. Harris was then arrested on scene for breaching his probation order. Harris was searched and handcuffed and placed in the rear of a police vehicle. The cops searched Harris and found marijuana in violation of his probation order and a small pipe. A subsequent search found 4 lighters. And if anybody's ever smoked this marijuana pipe outside, they know you need 4 lighters. They charged him with 3 breaches of his probation order, including not being of good behavior. That makes me mad. Anyway, Reginato called McIsaac to tell him Harris was under arrest on different charges and in police lockup. At 40 hours, McIsaac called Constable Leo Farrell and told him a man matching the description sent out on May 3rd, 2013, had been apprehended and was presently in custody at Central Lockup Facility.
So that was just after midnight.
Yes. I said 40 hours. Sorry, guys. It's 40 minutes after midnight.
Yeah.
Farrell's account of Harris's arrest is different. It's different enough to quote. As a result of the bolo sent out by Sergeant Wilson, be on the lookout. He, Constable Reginato, had observed a male on Dorchester Street riding a bike and later again on the front steps of Governor's Pub, directly across from the fire scene of fire that destroyed the Royal Yacht Club, Esplanade City. Constable Reginato stated that the male, Derek Harris, had on clothing matching that of the Be On Lookout, had same physical characteristics, and was riding a bike as described by a witness.
Is this making you guys mad? Is this making you guys? Is this making you two mad? It's because it's so clear what's going on here. You got this. Yeah.
It made me very upset the first time, and the second time I read it, I was like, "This makes me angrier all the time," because I got to tell you, I know people like this poor fella, and for someone to just assume he's doing something wrong because he's outside really makes me upset.
Okay.
No concerns about Harris being in distress or having issues. Reginato stopped him because he recognized him. So why claim otherwise in an official report?
Yeah.
McIsaac went into Central Division where Harris was being held, and at 2:45, he and Farrell went to Harris' cell and informed him that from that point on, all conversations would be recorded. They then took him to an interview room where they questioned him until 4:06. That'd be 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Exhausting being questioned at that hour, if you ask me. But anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Confession. McIsaac informed Harris he was being investigated with regards to the arson that occurred at the yacht club on May 3rd, 2013. Harris said he understood his rights and the police caution and did not wish to speak with counsel. And then, according to McIsaac and Farrell's report, I didn't receive a full account of the interview. Harris said he was at the yacht club on May 3rd, 2013, and set the fire by using a Tim Hortons bag and cardboard on a couch that was outside the yacht club on the first level. Harris said he had watched the fire burn for about 5 minutes before taking off from the scene. Harris advised that he didn't go there with the intention of setting the fire, but he was angry and decided to light it. Harris stated that after lighting the fire, he made his way back to Redacted and stayed inside until the point that he was arrested. So Harris' clothes were seized and logged into evidence as 9 separate bags. Elsewhere in the documents, it's noted there were no burn marks on the clothes, and McIsaac could not tell if there were any smoke odors on Harris. On the 26th of September 2013, McIsaac reported having conducted a photo array with Finney. I am not sufficiently familiar with the police investigations to know if it is unusual for the police to wait 4 months after an incident to conduct a photo array, but it seems strange to allow that much time to elapse before conducting an exercise that depends on human memory. McIsaac recorded his plans to prepare a photo lineup on the day of the fire. At any rate, here's the report. So, supplementary occurrence report. Cape Breton Regional Police Services, printed 2019.
June 13th.
Yep, June 6th, 13th. Thank you. 1223 by 5053.
5053 is a
carry out.
Yeah.
So we got here author Cape Breton 1220 McIsaac A. Entered by same 2013. That's September 26th. The writer conducted a photo array with witness Brian Finney. Finney stated that the accused that he saw was between pictures 11, 12, and 6. Finney stated that he is not 100% sure, but he picked number 6, Derek Harris. Constable A.J. McIsaac. Yeah. Case dismissed. On May 23rd, 2014, Provincial Court Judge Brian Williston ruled that Harris' confession was the result of an inducement and therefore not given freely or as voluntarily. McInnes of the Cape Breton Post reported, Williston concluded that because Harris was a diminished mental capacity, the comments made to him by investigator Constable A.J. McIsaac during an early morning, 1-hour interrogation could be construed by Harris as offering a promise that he would not be charged if he admitted to the crime. The judge said, while the conduct of McIsaac was not oppressive in terms of an individual with an average developmental state, it was oppressive for Harris, who was diminished mental capacity.
They were leading him.
Yes. Misleading him.
Misleading him all the way. This poor guy. In my view, these circumstances created an atmosphere of inducement such that the will of the accused was overborne, and any hesitation he may have had about providing that statement was removed by these inducements, said Williston. McInnes explained that during voir dire, Harris' defense lawyer, Drew Rogers, had first challenged whether Harris' arrest was valid. Williston ruled it was, before challenging the voluntariness of the statement. Williston ruled it was not voluntary, referring to McIsaac's testimony in which he admitted to telling Harris police had eyewitnesses who saw him leave the scene, which was not true. I'm going to quote the Post story at length rather than trying to rephrase it. So this is the quoted story. McIsaac said it was a common technique used by police in a bid to get an accused to open up. Constable McIsaac, further in his cross-examination by defense counsel, testified that other than his own suspicions, he did not have any evidence to suggest the accused was responsible for the fire at the yacht club, said Williston. Further, said the judge, the officer testified he had no concern with the manner in which Harris spoke or concern with his mental capacity, having dealt with him in the past. It is obvious, said the judge in his decision, in viewing the video, that the accused, Mr. Harris, is a person with a disability in a relation to his mental capacity. During the interview, McIsaac makes repeated references to witnesses seeing Harris at the scene, along with the videotape where McIsaac tells Harris he doesn't think the fire was a big deal because the building was old, there was nothing inside, and no one got hurt. Tell me what happened. Tell me why those are the big questions I have. Why? So I can put on paper and go, Derek didn't mean to hurt anybody. I can at least put something on paper so I can put my file back in the filing cabinet. I have more important things to do than this file, and I have actual criminals to go after, and you are not a criminal, said McIsaac.
Wow.
He told him.
Blows my mind.
Later, McIsaac tells Harris that the fire isn't what he has to worry about, but rather getting his life back on track, and that all he did was make a mistake. The officer said it was not about jail, but more about Harris taking a step forward and moving on, moving out of Sydney. The remarks about putting it on paper, that it was not about jail, that he would put his rubber stamp on it, that he could go to bat for Harris, that it will give Harris a second chance, sends a message, particularly to a person with an impaired intellectual capacity, that there is an advantage being held out to him if he gives a statement, wrote Williston in his decision. With the statement ruled inadmissible, Crown Prosecutor Shane Russell said the Crown could not prove its case, and the judge acquitted Harris of all charges, including breaching his probation. So the official charge date was on May 4th, 2013, and he was acquitted of arson, damage of property, and
that
was total coercion.
For breach of probation as well. So he didn't breach his probation, and he didn't commit arson. And so I'm realizing why I put the file away and forgot about it. It didn't really teach me anything. I hadn't already known about the yacht club fire, except perhaps how little effort was made to discover its cause.
Exactly.
I get that faced with a... What's that?
Exactly. There's no effort on anyone's part.
No. As a matter of fact, no, you're wrong. There was effort to stop effort.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there was an effort made to make sure there were going to be no efforts made to save that club, is what I'm seeing clear as a bell, you know? Clear as night. Okay. So
Mary says,
yep.
She says, I get that faced with a raging fire next to an exposed propane tank, your first concern as a fireman is averting an explosion. But did the site have to be so thoroughly disturbed that an investigation wasn't even possible, especially given the kind of public attention already focused on the yacht club? Where did the fire start? What started it? Was there an explosion? Why did the fire engulf the building so quickly? Was it simply age? Okay, now I'm asking questions for the sake of asking questions, not because I expect answers, but here's one I think I can venture a response to. Would the RCBYC have burned down if ECBC had decided to spend the money to repair it? If it had been fenced off, ready for renovation work instead of sitting abandoned on the waterfront, it had survived 113 years after all, during which time there must have been some close calls with drunken sailors and open flame, and yet it wasn't until it was designated for demolition that it burned down or was burned to the ground.
Boom!
I know what I think, but I'm going to allow you to draw your own conclusions.
All right. So this article didn't bring us to our full hour. Great. It was a great read, and it's leading us up to our next segment. And we've got many, many more articles to go into. But I think, what do you think, guys? Next week, do you want to start going into showing them the money that did get sent to them in form of federal tax dollars, and show exactly how much we as a public gave to support that? Where should we go next week?
I think that's part and parcel of it. But what I really want our viewers and the rest of Cape Breton to start catching on to is where this is starting to lead to. and how they
Yeah.
actually, who is actually leading the, what,
I-
it was important that the yacht club, it's important the fact that the yacht club burned down, but what is just as important is why they burned it down. And I'm
Yes.
saying,
Why are they burning down these places that we know should be saved for our heritage? And
Okay.
I want to know. The
maybe we
Whaley, the Whaley trials is
Yeah.
I believe, an 11-part segment. I don't know if you guys are interested in looking into that, but I know that has an awful lot of connections that,
Well, then
that we need to
let's.
kind of be making.
What do you think, Rod? You can go out and look at the Whaley files and see if
is that Wally, John Wally?
yeah, the
Wally. Sorry, I've been calling him Whaley. Wally. John
No,
Wally.
that's
The
okay.
trial.
Oh, the Wally trial is really intriguing. That poor man was railroaded.
He was.
He surely was.
All right. So we're going to start with the John Wally.
Oh yeah, okay. We can start doing John Wally. That's great.
It's actually way back in 2012, I believe. It might have even been earlier, but the very first segment of that, it tells you a lot. It lines you all up for what we need to be showing. I think where
guys,
all these people.
So what we've done is we've given you a full circle of scandalous circumstances regarding the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start showing you the people that were behind these scandalous things and what happened if you were someone who saw something and you didn't like it. And that's where John Wally comes in.
Yeah.
So with us, make sure that you don't miss an episode because we're really covering a lot. And if you miss something, it'll leave a blank, and we don't want anybody. We want to fill in all the puzzle pieces. And if you're watching and you have any information to contribute to us showing people, making it easier, if you've got any of these directories from ECBC, ACOA, DevCo, something inside of CBRM, I think we can get that online. But we just want a list of the names that were involved in all these organizations because you're going to see a picture form, and we don't think you're going to like it.
No. Ladies, could I bring up something that just happened? And I really want your true opinion. Because you're women, okay, and you're putting yourself out there in the public, okay. So, can I talk about what was written on the mayor's page?
Yes, go for it.
What you're all about? That's all about. So, basically, I'm going to use the word some rig. Actually basically commented on the mayor's child and said that ha ha ha, you blah blah blah, your kid has Down syndrome and you deserve
a terrible person. Whoever said that, they need to have their rights removed from social media.
So what I want to ask you is, as women, okay, in the public eye, and you're both mothers, right?
And grandmothers.
And grandmothers.
It sickened me. I instantly wanted to beat that man's face in. How dare he?
Yeah. Is that
Janet has a very vocal.
Is that off limits for politics?
Yes, that is.
It absolutely is.
Jesus, imagine him talking about the mayor's child.
Whether you voted for Mayor Amanda McDougall or not, nobody has any right to bring up that baby. And I don't care. I don't care who you are and how big and important you might think you are on this island. You don't have a right to be putting her down about a baby.
That's
I mean, if her politics are askew with what you want, then that is what you need to be going after.
Yeah, that's right.
You do not need to be bringing personal, it's personal attacks that would make anybody sick to their stomach who has a heart.
When I seen that, he made me so angry. I literally wanted to go and find this man and just punch his face off remove his fingers. How dare he say anything like that? That is so personal. It just disgusted me. And hard not to curse, but every fiber of my being, it just made me loathe that man.
Yeah. As a guy, my other part of life, I work in construction, right? That's what I do. And you deal with all kinds on the construction site. But at the same time, you just don't do that.
That's a line that was crossed beyond. I mean, a lot of us will even do a personal attack on each other. It doesn't even it doesn't even seem like there was any lines that weren't crossed during the election time, right? But that was a line. That to me was such a blaring red line. You cannot be attacking somebody's children. Attacking them.
Yeah, I think it just made us all
for being a mother.
Yeah, I think it just, as a Cape Breton guy, I think it made us all look really bad.
It did.
Yeah, I know, Rod. But we know there's guys like you. Most guys out there are a lot better than that. And some of them are as good as you. Some of them actually have respect for women. Actually, put us out there as somebody who's valid enough point to listen to. You know,
their voices are important enough to be heard. That's right, and we appreciate men like you, Rod, and we wish that there would be more fellas like you.
Well,
anything else?
I'm not that great. Just ask the wife. Not really.
The true answer.
Yes. We're trying to get over to Rhonda's for a tea. I'll never get there at the rate I'm going. As soon as it's warm, I'm getting over there. I'm going over.
All right.
I'm banging on her door.
On that note, guys, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and we appreciate the views, likes, and shares. Please keep sharing this video, and we want to have as many people find out what happened here in CBRM and why we are in the shape we're in. And thanks for supporting us, and we'll see you again 9 a.m. next Sunday. Peace, guys.
Represent.
Cape Breton Originals.